Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about, are the opening kills in the Scream franchise still memorable, or have they been forgotten because of the star power behind it? So when it comes to that of Scream, they always have an opening kill. Every movie has two opening kills, but only Scream 5 has one. Most people seem to think that the opening kill in the Scream movies, there's only one, but people tend to forget there are two people actually getting killed per movie in the opening, except of course for 5. And they pretty much all start off the same exact way. Every single last one of them, except for Scream 2. They start off with a person being home, getting a phone call by Ghostface, and then getting killed by Ghostface. Whereas in Scream 2, there is no opening call, there is no house, and the killers never speak to the victims. And when it comes to that of the opening kills, I'm pretty sure everybody can agree the very first one is still the best one till this day. If you even ask somebody, hey, do you remember the opening kill to any of the Scream movies? They're most likely going to say the first one. It was written well, it was acted well, it was directed well. The way Ghostface ran in the house is memorable and everything. It is a true classic, a true testament and everything, if you will. But when you really stop and think about it now, do the sequels hold up to that of the opening kills? I would say 2 of the sequels do, but then that's about it. And the reason why I say that, it has to do with what the scene is setting up and the celebrity behind it. They always get famous people, but some of these people aren't as famous as others. And some of these celebrities tend to be forgotten in, Hollywood. And because of that, you tend to forget them and the opening kill of Scream. This has to do with the movies and the television show. And, the 3 I think that still hold up, that people will still remember till this day, is the first movie opening kill, the second movie, and the 5th. And it has to do with what happened in that scene and also the celebrity behind it. One of the ways that these celebrities are not forgotten is because they still are relevant till this day. They might not act no more, their roles might be slowing down, but they are still as relevant as they was back then, and they are more relevant than most of the newer opening kill stars of today. And it's because of what other, job opportunities they have ventured into. Also, scandals. Ah, yes, scandals. So, let's get into why I think the first, second, and 5th opening scenes or in kills are by far the best, and people will still remember them till this day. And why all the other ones, for the most part, have been forgotten. Now, the first opening kill from the first movie, which in my opinion is the best, the most memorable. I just rewatched it last night. I love watching the Scream movies during Halloween season. Of course, you always gotta start with the first one first. And just that opening scene, it was just, everything was so perfect about that. Like the writing, the dialogue, the action, the chase. It's just, there's so much of it was so cool, and they've never really been able to duplicate that to a level of coolness, maybe except for the second movie, because you're just wondering who is it in the second movie. But in the first one, people don't really think of Stephen Orff, you know what I'm saying? But despite people forgetting about him, this first opening kill is still very memorable and people remember it because of Drew Barrymore. Now, the actor who plays Stephen Orff, I didn't even know who he was. He was in the first Blade movie as the cop. He stopped acting around 2004. So if it wasn't for Drew, you would completely forget about this first kill. Drew makes this a memorable kill, not just because of what she does in the scene, but because of who she is. She has managed to stay relevant for decades, starting off as a little kid in the E.T. movie, from like, you know, her documenting her drug abuse and everything, from her getting her life back together, from being a wild child and everything at a very young age, from being on that one talk show and flashing the host and everything, from starring and producing in the Charlie Angels movies and stuff. Plus a slew of teen like comedy romance movies of the late 90s and stuff. And, you know, she even had a production company that did the work on the second Charlie Angels movie, and she produced a television show that came out shortly after. And, you know, and as her, like, you know, her star ability is starting to slow down a little bit. She's not getting hired for that many roles. She did have that one television show. I think she was like a zombie or something like that. And so she still managed to stay relevant with her talk show that's been on, I don't know how many seasons now. Even though I don't personally watch it because I just don't watch talk shows no more. Everybody watches it. Everybody talks about it. So it has kept her in the eyes of everybody. Plus, there was that little bit of a scandal during the writer's strike when she decided, okay, I'm going to continue with my show and just have like a scab writer and everything. She took the heat for it. And then if she just would have waited just a little bit longer, the writer's strike was over with. So, but people forgave her after that. Now, even though I don't watch her talk show, I saw a clip because they had Christina Aguilera on there. I'm like, oh wow, I haven't seen Christina in like forever. I haven't listened to her music in over 15 years or so. And every time I see her, she looks different. I ain't talking about body size. You know, she had a baby, so it's been up and down. Plus, I like her when she's thick. But it's her face that keeps changing. Because, of course, she, just like all these other female celebrities, is getting work done on her face, which is causing her to be unrecognizable at times. That and the weight gain and losing it has made her face look different. So I'm all like, hey, I want to see what her face looks like now. So when I watched the video, I couldn't help but agree with all the comments. I don't know if Drew does this with everybody, but for whatever reason, Drew was all up in her face, sitting super close to her and very engaged. And it's like, you know that phrase, you're in my personal space, you're in my personal bubble? Drew was directly in that girl's bubble. She was so close, it made me feel uncomfortable, and I'm just watching it. Like, she was so close, if she was to talk, spit would fly out her mouth and directly hit Christina in the face. And it's just like she was so engaged in that interview. It was just kind of, it was weird and creepy. But I love myself some Drew Barrymore, so yeah. So because of stuff like that, she's managed to stay in, like, you know, the public eye. And she hasn't done anything bad since she was like younger and stuff. And she's completely turned her life around and people just love her to death. And so it helps make people remember that opening kill because, you know, she has managed to stay like in the spotlight. Not to mention the switcheroo. People thought Drew was going to be the lead in Scream, but it turned out to be Neve Campbell. And this completely shocked everybody. They even spoofed her opening scene twice, once in Scary Movie and one within the Scream movie with the Stab movies. They've even like have made like meta gags about this in other shows. Like I was watching the second revival, the second season of Are You Afraid of the Dark a few years back. And the one guy who was set in the 90s, he's all like, he invited his coworker to the movies to go see Scream. He's like, dude, Drew Barrymore is in this. She's the lead. Now, we now know she was never the lead. And that's just something that helps keep this like first kill so memorable and everything. The second best opening kill is from that of the second movie. It completely changed. They was no longer home. There was no phone call. They was at a movie theater. This time the girlfriend and the boyfriend were together, and they shared names with characters from the first movie. They're in the movie theater where like everybody pretty much is dressed up like Ghostface, and you don't know if the real one is there or not, but us fans know, hey, it's probably there. Now, Omar Epps is very famous and everything. He still works to this day, but nobody really thinks about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he starred in stuff, but I've never seen it. And so he kind of gets forgotten. But because of his co-star, that of Jada Pinkett Smith, you remember the scene a lot. And it's Jada that helped keeps it alive because of how controversial she is. Love her or hate her, she is super famous and everything. And it's her family that actually keeps her relevant and everything. Now, the scene is memorable. Like I said before, you don't know if Ghostface is really there. But then after the boyfriend comes back, you kind of suspect that that's Ghostface. Then, of course, she's unaware, but us viewers know. And she gets stabbed. Plus, she had that really awkward death when she just paused and did that screeching scream, fell to the ground, had that weird pause on her face, and then just died. And it's just something that sticks in your head. Some people think it's cheesy, but hey, it worked to make you remember it. And just like with Drew, you assume she's gonna be in the movie throughout the entire thing. You didn't think she would be the lead because you know Sydney's the lead, but you think she will live longer than the opening scene, but she doesn't. Now, as for Jada, like I said before, she's very controversial. It is her kids and her family that help keeps her relevant. People have such strong opinions about her kids. Let's put it like that. To the point where when you think of the kids, you think of Will and you think of Jada. Heck, even Jaden said that people keep thinking he's weird, but that's all his plan. He's pretending to be weird. So I'm like, so you've been pretending to be weird for 20 years plus because it's an experiment? Yeah, whatever, dude. Then, of course, Willa, you know, that whole incident with Shane Douglas, was that his name? Or Shane Dawson? What was that dude's name, that YouTuber? Well, he made some very inappropriate gestures to a picture of her. Jada did not like that. Got on to him, and I think he lost his YouTube channel as a result of that getting canceled. And then, of course, there is the whole her and her red table talk thing, where that is controversial all on its own, where she spills all the details about her family, her infidelity on Will Smith. I think doing something with one of Jaden's younger friends, something like that. To the point where it really seems like she uses that like talk space just to make fun of Will and everything. And let's not forget the slap that was heard around the world when Will slapped that of Chris Rock and everything. Because Chris was making fun of Jada, and Will decides he's gonna walk up there and slap the taste out of his mouth. And a lot of people just don't like Jada Pinkett Smith no more. And they really feel like Will is kind of like stuck in a marriage he doesn't want to get out of and stuff because he took his vows. That, and there's a whole bunch of other rumors about both of them, that is just like so much that it keeps her in the spotlight because she doesn't really act no more. And so, because of that and all the controversy surrounding her, you tend to think of that second kill. And when you're a celebrity, there's two ways to stay famous. You either make a bunch of stuff that people like, or you be controversial and have scandals. The third best, one that people remember a lot, is because it changed the playing field. Scream 5, Jenna Ortega. It's very famous because she is the only person in the entire franchise to survive the opening kill. She is also the only one to only not be partnered with anybody else. This was a huge game changer and everything because people was not expecting that. And, so that will always, ring in people's minds as being memorable. Plus, Jenna Ortega is like the new it girl of Hollywood. Before she did Scream, she was in Stuck in the Middle, a Disney Channel show, where she captured the hearts of millions of people. She publicly and openly got into a feud with her co-star because her co-star was being racist. And, not only that, but it was a Latino show where her co-star was white playing a Latina. Jenna exposed the crap out of her, and it led to people hating this actress so much that she has now left Hollywood and has not acted in anything since. And and of course, and I think it caused that actress to get written off the show, but then the show got canceled that same season. So that was big talk a few years back. Then, of course, she starred in Wednesday, which really blew up her celebrity. She was in the Scream movies. She was in the first Maxine X movie, what you call it. She was in that. She's been in Miller's Girl. And every time she does an interview, it tends to piss somebody off because she always says something that kind of irks people and stuff. Like when she went over the writer's head and changed some of the dialogue in the Wednesday show, which angered some people in Hollywood and stuff. So because of all that, and her celebrity and her still starring and stuff and still being famous and relevant in the eyes of millions, and those Disney Channel people, they got lots of fans. People will always remember her opening scene. Now this is the one that's a little bit kinda not. You remember it, but then you kinda don't. And it's the one from the third Scream movie, the one with Cotton Weary and his girlfriend. Now, the girlfriend is completely forgettable unless you know exactly who she is. She's barely in the opening scene. The killer's there using a different voice. He kills. First, she knocks out Cotton, thinking he's the killer. Then the killer runs up behind her and kills her. Nothing at all is memorable about that, except for her getting confused about the voice. Also, in Scream 3, this is the only time the opening kill is done by grown adults and everything. The first time, because normally it's teenagers. And so with this, you really forget who the girlfriend is. You don't even know her name. And the actress is famous, but if you don't know her, then you ain't gonna know her and everything. It's Kelly Rutherford. And she's best known for doing television shows. I first saw her in Briscoe County Jr. She's done some other stuff, but I ain't never seen her in it. And a lot of people used to have a huge crush on her back in the 90s and stuff, right? Now, she has been in controversy, but people tend to forget that. See, she was in a bad marriage, got divorced, and she's been in a nasty custody battle for over 10 years. To the point where I don't understand how the judge sided with the ex-husband, especially after he did some bad stuff. The husband, I think, is French. She's an American. So the kids are like, half French, half American. And for whatever reason, at one point, she was given custody of the kids. But then the judge ordered that the kids have to go live with the father, wherever country he lives in now. This don't make no sense seeing how the kids were born in America. I don't understand how they can rip those kids from like, her arms. And then she tries to ever get them back. I think they said she will get like arrested or something like that. And she has lost so much money because of this by legal fees and everything. To where she has an extensive joint custody of them and she can see them anytime she wants. I don't know what the deal is going on with this now because it was in like, things like things called in that magazines, they're like online magazines, TMZ, stuff like that. But then since then, nobody has talked about this like at all. So it causes her to be forgettable. But then you have Cotton, and he is the one who saves this and having you remember it only because the actor was in two prior Scream movies. He had a non-speaking role in the first one, but then he was more prominent in the second one as comedic relief. And he was a decoy for like one of the killers, a red herring. And so because of his comedic role in that second one, you remember Cotton Reary. Leave Striver, most people don't like he still stars and stuff. He's still famous. I don't think he has any controversies. But the stuff he stars in, most people don't think about unless they think about that one Wolverine origin movie. And because of the roles that he stars in now, he can be a very forgetful person. But it's because of that character and that character from the prior movies that you tend to remember it. Now, all of the rest of these entries I'm about to name now, these are the ones that are completely forgettable. And they're so forgettable because the stars attached to them aren't that famous. And that's the problem right there. Every time now they cast somebody for an opening Scream kill role, their celebrity power isn't that powerful. It might have been just a little in the past, but now it's like non-existent and stuff. So you don't think about these people. And their kills weren't that spectacular, so you don't think about those either. And it's quite a shame because this is Scream you're talking about. The casting director needs to be better at this. They need to pick somebody with huge star appeal, either from the past or currently, and somebody who might have a little bit of controversy that will keep their name going. And now the one from Scream 4. Technically, yes, this is memorable because of the way it was set up. These multiple fake openings and stuff, right? But here is the problem. I remember the fake openings, stars and their kills a whole lot more than I actually do the real one. And the reason for that is because the opening fake kills, those celebrities are more famous. And I tend to forget the actual real stars that were in the real opening and stuff. Now, the scene itself will always be memorable because of those fake openings. And it was something different and new. It got a bit annoying, but it was still cool. But it's the real one that people tend to forget. And the reason for that is because both kills weren't that impressive. The girl on the left, I have no idea who she is at all. I don't know if she's famous. I don't know if she's semi-famous. I don't even know why she was cast in it. But like, she dies off screen and you don't even see her body unless you watch a deleted scene. Now the girl on the right, Amy, I only know her from one thing, a guest appearance in Legend of the Seeker. Yeah, she's been in other stuff. She was in Friday Night Lights. I never watched that, so I don't know. She's been in 2 other shows that only lasted a season. And she hasn't acted since 2022. Not throwing the shade at her, but I'm just like stating what's online. And so because of that, the project she's been in, as I'm reading them, I've never seen any of this stuff because I've never seen her in any of them. I do like her as an actress from that one role I saw, but that's about it. Her kill isn't that impressive because it's basically copy and paste from that of Scream 1 with the whole garage door scene. So it's not memorable at all because it's just copy and paste and it's not really all that impressive. Yeah, she says she has a high IQ and everything, but we don't see it. And because of that, I just think this tends to be one of those openings that just people kind of just forgets. Now, when it comes to Scream 6, this is where it gets a little iffy. So you have two famous people. But does their kills really still hold up today? And do the stars themselves? Once again, we got two people. And one of them is more famous than the other, but you don't hear nobody really talk about her. First, let's get to the second kill. Well, technically, there's 3 kills. There's one that was off screen, the roommate. So you have like this one guy. I forget what his character's name is. I don't even know the actor's name. So basically, this kill is completely different. For the first time ever, one of the opening kills is actually a ghost face themselves. Actually, 2. One was off screen and the other one came home after killing this other person I'll mention a little bit later. And the thing about him is like he could be memorable for being a ghost face that actually gets killed by another ghost face. And I guess some people could remember that, but in terms of like the star power of it all, I don't really know what all this dude has done other than playing Flash Thompson in the MCU. And when he plays Flash, it's very brief. I never hear nobody talk about this guy. I never hear nobody talk about his opening kill. And like I said before, it could be memorable because he is a ghost face that gets killed by Ghostface. So that is something on its own. But because like, you know, him playing the whole Marco Polo type thing with the other killer and like, you know, the celebrity not having that huge star power, he does tend to be a little bit forgettable. Like, I never really think about him as an opening kill. I don't even think of him as Ghostface. I really don't even think about him as like a character in the movie. And I'm not trying to like diss him or nothing like that. That's not what it is. It's just like, if they would have casted somebody who's more famous, and if they would have gave his kill something more thrilling and interesting other than him being a ghost face himself, then he wouldn't have been one of the forgotten few. He's kind of like the characters from Scream 3. Do you really remember any of those people that died? Did you even like any of them? Then we get to the dude's teacher, who was our first kill in the opening and stuff, played by Samara Weaving. Now, I've seen her in a couple of stuff. She was in the finale of Ash vs. Evil Dead. I saw her in some British show. I don't even remember what it's called, but I did not finish it because it was dry and boring. And like, what else was she in? She was in something. She was in some movie where she hunted down people and killed them. And I guess people could remember her for that, but I never saw that movie. But I also saw her in a show called Myth. Yeah, myth, like MILF. And there is some controversy with that show and her as well. That is really interesting, but people forgot about it. And so when people think of this character, they think of her as being really stupid, walking down a dark alley, talking on the phone with some stranger she never met for like a date. That's pretty stupid. If people remember her, they're going to remember her for that and that alone. They'll probably also remember her for being hot, but like that's it. But they're not going to remember her. And in terms of the celebrity, the Myth Show, which I've never talked about, I probably never will. Mainly because I don't even know what streaming app is on right now. I don't even remember what streaming app I watched it on. And well, it's just, well, here's the controversy with this, right? The creator, writer, and the person who starred in the show is named Frankie something. I forget her name, right? And this was Frankie's big break to where like she went from being a stand-up comedian writer to having her own show. The first season was pretty good. Second season, not so much. It was a show that was produced by ABC. And the controversy that surrounds it is that Samara Me Too'd the Frankie lady because the Samara lady had some sex scenes and some nude scenes that she said were way too inappropriate. I forget exactly what she said, but I think she said that the creator, writer, actress of the show was making some statements that made her feel uncomfortable. Also, something else happened when filming it, and somebody would come into the room and something would happen. I can't remember what, but the bottom line is she felt very uncomfortable and she felt like the creator abused her power somehow. I forgot exactly what it was. She didn't get assaulted, nothing like that. But it was something that happened and it made her feel very uncomfortable while being nude and having to do all this other stuff. So she Me Too'd the woman, right? And it was a big investigation at that time. ABC had to get into it. They had to investigate. They had to interview Rosie O'Donnell because Rosie was in the show. Now, Rosie says she never saw anything bad happen on the show. And I don't really know what happened of this. I think I really don't know because they really didn't follow up too much about what happened. See, this is the weird thing about this stuff. Something bad will happen, but there's never no follow up on this. But I think they found no misconduct or something like that in the investigation. Either way, I think the Frankie lady's pretty much been canceled because I haven't seen her act in anything since. Maybe one project, but it's minor. I'm not 100% sure. But that's the controversy that surrounds Samara and that show. And like I said before, since it happened so long ago, this happened way before the pandemic, I think, people have now forgotten about this. And because of that, do people really even like think about Samara Weaving on like a regular basis? I don't. I mean, I like her as an actress. I think she's really cute. And it's like, I don't think about her like, the same way I don't think about the dude from the Spider-Man movies in the MCU. Like, I just don't think about them. And because of that, I really don't think about like their opening kills. Like, because when she did get it, it wasn't as cool as Casey Becker. It wasn't as cool as Jada Pinkett Smith's character, It's just forgettable, to be completely honest with you, in my opinion. And now you go over to the TV side, because yes, there was a stream television show. Now, I can't rewatch these because I don't have the app on which they're on. I do not know why. They are not on an app in which you pay for. You have to, first of all, get the app and pay additional money just to watch per episode. That is stupid. And I really want to rewatch the Scream show because I want to see if I like it or I don't, or I just think it's all right. Because I have mixed feelings about this show, but I can't remember how I truly 100% feel about it. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, sometimes I'm in the middle. But it lasted for 3 seasons, and 2 of those seasons, I kind of remember the opening kill. Once again, they did the whole trick thing. They casted somebody in there that people know of, but they die early on. The first one is from season 1, involves Bella Thorne. Now, she is best known for being in Disney Channel, right? And I never really watched her in Disney Channel, except for when she was on Wizards of Waverly Place for 1 episode, but I never watched the show she was actually on. I've heard about her and all the controversy that surrounds her and everything. But other than that, I really don't think about her. Like, she's one of those former Disney Channel stars that has literally just disappeared for the most part. You don't really hear nothing about her. Because even with the controversial stuff that surrounds her, you just forget about her. She's literally on that long list of former Disney channels you just don't think about. When she left Disney, she complained about Disney. Oh, I wasn't allowed to do this and I wasn't allowed to do that and blah, 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 and stuff like that. Of course, when she left, she became like one of those hot girl Disney Channel girls and everything. There are parts of her body that looks fake. I'm sorry, I don't know if they really are or not, but they don't look real. And she was young when she had that stuff done to her, like a young adult. She doesn't even really look the way she did when she was on Disney Channel. She's had some special pictures that got hacked and stolen and everything. That was controversial at that time. She feuded with another former Disney Channel star. Now, the other former Disney Channel star is way famous and has stayed famous, Zendaya. But they're cool now and everything. She said like Disney tried to pit them together and everything, but who knows? She was on a show on ABC Family. And she literally had no idea the show got canceled until the whole public found out. They didn't even tell her because the show really wasn't even all that great. And then, she directed a porno and everything. She did not star in it. She directed it. She still stars in movies and stuff, but there's nothing you've ever heard of and nothing I've ever heard of. They're mostly direct to DVDs or direct to streaming. So for the most part, sadly, she has been a forgotten Disney Channel star. So when you did see her back in the day on this show many years ago, you're probably like, oh, hey, look, it's her. But nowadays, you kind of like, oh, yeah, it's her and everything. So you really don't think much about it. Now, her scene was pretty cool. It was on par of that of Casey Becker's. So, she's out by the hot tub. She's in a bikini or something like that. And she's getting a call from Ghostface. I think there's a severed head in her pool. Freaks her out. She runs. There's blood on her hands. And she's trying to, call 911 on her cell phone. But her fingers are too slippery. Then, of course, Ghostface gets her. And that's it. Pretty cool scene. But once again, if you've never seen the show, then you don't know about it. And if you did watch it, most likely you forgot about it now. Only because, the show has its ups and downs. And this actress has her ups and downs. And even with her ups and downs, it's not enough for you to remember her. I literally forgot what her whole scene was about until the night. I'm like, hey, think. Doing that whole Jimmy Neutron thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember now. And last but not least, one I truly forgot about until I did this list, the opening kill of season 3 of Scream, the one that involves Paris Jackson. Now, Paris Jackson, I thought she would actually be in the show a little bit longer, but once again, fool me for the millionth time, she was not. She was the opening kill. And I don't even remember how her opening kill was. I remember she was in a nurse outfit. She opened the door to trick-or-treaters. There was Ghostface. Something happens, and like he stabs her. And so I completely forgot even how he kills her. I don't even think she gets chased. Like, I don't even remember. That's how much I've forgotten about that. Season 3 was not that good. Um, but here's the thing. Now, the only reason, and I do mean the only reason why she is famous is because she is a Nepo baby. She is the quote unquote daughter of Michael Jackson. I don't know if she's biological. I don't know if she's adopted, but she does not look half black. But then again, like I said in a couple of videos ago, sometimes you just can't even tell if a person's half black because some of them come out pure white looking. So there is a possibility she is actually his daughter and that she is half black. But her mom has literally come out not too long ago for the millionth time and said that no, Michael Jackson is not her father or the other boy and everything. So I'm just gonna go by the mother's word and everything. And so adopted or not, whatever, she's a Nepo baby. And that's all she's known for. She apparently has a music career. I just found that out by looking her up. I've never heard her sing. I've never heard her on the radio. I've never heard nobody scream about her music or anything like that. The only scandal she's ever really had is when it made news that she tried to sneak away to like a Marilyn Manson concert, but you know, her grandmother wouldn't let her and stuff. And she got angry at Janet for some reason and like that. And she was depressed and I think she tried to harm herself or something like that. But that was many years ago, and people have now forgotten about that. And other than that, you never hear nobody talk about her. Heck, she even talks about politics online and it doesn't even make a buzz. You hear Kevin Sorbo make a political statement and everybody talks about it. But for her, nobody cares. And so because of that, her opening scene is extremely forgettable and everything. And like I said before, this is no diss to none of the people on the list. It's just some of these people's star power just isn't that big enough for it to be memorable like the first two. And that's the problem right there. I don't understand why the star power isn't massive for the opening kill. That was the marketing ploy of the first two movies. And you would assume they was gonna be in the movie for the entire time, but they wasn't. But it's because they got two big name movie stars in the first two movies to get you tempted and everything to watch. Now it's just a bunch of people that are barely famous or like was famous at one point in time but not really famous no more, and people who don't make a splash in the entertainment business no more. And it's quite a shame because, you know, that opening kill really should be a big thing. Like, look at Scary Movie. They spoof the Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. And when they had their opening kill, they got Carmen Electra, a woman who was a sex symbol in the 90s. And she was on Baywatch, and she was a model, and she dated Dennis Rodman for some bizarre reason. And, you know, that was huge. So you're like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? But now when I see these people, like, I know who they are, but I don't tend to remember who they are and stuff like that. And so I'm hoping going forward, with however many Scream movies gonna come out, I hope the opening kill has a huge, famous name behind it. I mean, look at Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus literally is Disney Channel, or was. She literally was the princess of Disney Channel. People always talked about her when she was on Disney Channel. She got in trouble, she left, and she wanted to break away from that. And when she broke away from it, she did the most desperate thing ever. She got half naked, swung on a wrecking ball, and started licking things. It kept her in the public eye, but not for too long. Now you don't even hear nothing from her. Nobody casts her in movies anymore. I don't even think she makes music no more. She's kind of just become forgotten and everything. Maybe it's by her own design. Who the heck knows? But ain't nobody talking about Miley Cyrus no more. And so if they was to cast her in like, a Scream opening kill, you will remember all the stuff that she used to do back in the day, and it will be memorable, and you will remember. But then again, like say she was cast many, 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 many years ago in Scream, and all of a sudden now you don't hear from her no more. You probably would forget and everything. Now wasn't that spooky? All right. Well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.